Okay, so once I've gone through with my blending shears and I've removed weight or I've created softness, I notice I do have these points here. I'm going to go back in with my razor and I'm going to surface sketch these points and take them off, creating more roundness throughout the perimeter here. I'm going to do that on the opposite side as well. And once I have the desired length around the perimeter that I'm looking for, I'm going to move on to the fringe area again. And in the fringe area, what we are going to do is we are going to do some edging work with our shears. Okay, so edging, what we're going to do with our shears here is we're going to use our comb and we're going to pick up the fringe area. We're going to pick up the fringe area with our comb and we're going to hold it out. And we're going to go edging from the outside to in. So we're going to cut triangles, cutting as we go in. So from the outside, and then we're going to go from the opposite side, creating that triangle. My shears aren't cutting. Alright, let's try that again. So edging from the outside in. So cut as we go in at random. We're going to cut triangles. And we're going to move throughout the fringe, just cutting random triangles. What this is doing is this is creating texture throughout the fringe area. Giving her a very shattered, wispy fringe. The deeper you go in with your cuts, the more texture you're going to have. Alright, so that is edging, and that is from the outside in. Moving on, we're going to move into the the oval. So with our oval area, she's a little dry. I'm going to dampen her down with my water bottle. Comb this out. So we are going to subdivide the oval in half just to make cutting easier. So I'm going to find the natural fall of the head, the natural round of the head where the comb picks up off the head, and I'm going to separate the oval section from the round of the head where my comb picked up. Comb this out of the way, section it out of the way. So you have a parting throughout the center of your oval section. Now we're going to start in the back of our oval section. Smooth this out, and I'm going to take a 1-inch vertical parting down the center of this section. Alright, so there's my 1-inch vertical parting down the center of the oval section in the back. I'm going to subdivide this section. We are going to subdivide this section in half. We are going to clip this out of the way, the top part of this section out of the way. And from here, we're going to use our shears and we're going to pick up the hair underneath this and we're going to pull it up, combing all the hair up from the bottom. Using the longest using the longest length of the hair that we combed up as our guide, and we're going to cut the length to match. So from there, we're going to use the round of the head and follow this section all the way up, this vertical section all the way up to the top, highest point of the head. So we're going to come out towards ourselves at 90 degrees, and we're going to cut. Take another subsection of your vertical section, pull this out to 90 degrees, and we're gradually moving along the round of the head, so it's gradually getting some length on this, so it's going from shorter to longer. I'll turn it this way. And then we'll reach the highest point of the head and cut. Moving on to the next section, we would do the same thing. We're taking another 1-inch section, subdivide that section out of the way to create a smaller section. This is just going to make it easier as we move throughout these sections to cut. Find our guide from our previous section. Pull this out to 90 and we will cut. Take another small subsection of your 1-inch section, and we're gradually going from shorter to longer, moving throughout the round of the head. Still pulling out at 90 degrees. Take your next subsection. And we get to the highest point of the head and let that fall down. So we are going to continue this throughout the entire oval, back part of the oval section. All right, now that we've finished the back oval section, we're going to move up to the top of the oval section. Dampen this down again. Okay, so we're going to start this by subdividing this top front section into a 1-inch section down the center of this section. So there is our 1-inch section down the center of our oval subsection. So as I had mentioned earlier, your combs have measurements on, most combs have measurements on them. So it's about 6 inches. So where we're going to start this section is we're going to go from shorter to longer, starting at the high point is going to be our shortest part, and we're going to start at 5 inches. So if you put your comb on the head, you're going to see that 5 inches is going to start about right here. So you have about 1 inch left on your comb. So that's where we're going to start cutting. And we're going to move our comb, or excuse me, this section, we're going to go from shortest part at 5 inches, and we're going to cut up to 9 inches. So we'll find 5 inches. We're going to start right here. So from 5 to 9, I'm going to go behind my fingers, and I'm going to cut to 9 inches up at the top of the section. I'm going to take another subsection. Next to that section, I'm going to over-direct the next subsection towards my previous section. I'm going to find my guide where it starts. I'm going to cut behind my fingers, and I'm going to slide up to 9. 5 to 9. Next section, I'm going to take opposite of the first section, another 1-inch subsection. I'm going to take a small part of my section number 1. I'm going to over-direct section number 3 towards section number 1 and start cutting behind my fingers from 5 inches to 9 inches. Again, we're going on either side to keep balance throughout the top of the head. Next section, same thing, 1-inch section, over direct towards the previous section, slide cut behind my fingers. And we're going to continue to do this throughout the entire oval section on the top. And then when we get to our last section, over direct towards the previous section, find our guide, and we'll slide cut. I'm going to check for balance. I think I missed a section here. All right, once we are done cutting the top section here, we're going to start blow drying. And what we're going to use to blow dry, which is a little longer on this side, what we're going to use to blow dry is we're going to use the Soap Bodifying Mousse, which is going to help retain moisture throughout the section and give not necessarily nice volume in this case because we're not necessarily looking for volume, but it's going to give nice movement with a little bit of hold. so for the amount of hair we're working with here, actually I'm going to for the amount of hair we're working with here, I'm going to use about the size of a golf ball. I'm going to work this through the hair, and I'm going to comb it through for even distribution. And like we did with the first 4 sections, we're going to use our Denman brush. This is a medium Denman brush. It has 7 rows to it. And we're going to wrap dry this top section. So we're going to move around the head, wrap drying, going with the cuticle so we're not fraying it and it won't stick up. We're just going to move around the head and dry. Once we get to the point where we started, we can then reverse and go wrap dry the opposite direction. She's got some high lift damage going on through here. She could use some strength here. So I'm just gonna pick this up and smooth these ends out because they're not really getting as straight as I'd like them to with the Denman brush as I wrap dry. All right, once that's done, I am going to push this forward. We're going to have this come over to the right side. I'm actually going to grab a medium-sized round brush, or no, a small round brush, and I'm just going to brush her ends under because they're still not as straight as I'd like them to be, or as kept looking. I'm just going to give them a nice little polishing to finish that off. All right. So you may get a weight line in the back here. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and we are going to sketch with our razor. And what sketching will do again is it's going to help remove weight where weight is not wanted. So we're going to go out at a diagonal and we're just going to go through and work this area to remove weight. And once we are done with that, I'm going to come in with my control twist, and I'm going to do a half a pump of my control twist. And then I'm going to do about half of my fingernail with the density definer, and I'm going to mix these together. And I'm going to come in from the middle of the head, so more so around the parietal ridge, and I'm just going to kind of give it a small scrunch, and then move my way down to the ends. I'm going to come back up and I'm going to define the hair where I want it to go and give it a piecier textured look. And she is done. So this is my effortless crop, and I look forward to hearing